So the A's made headlines today. They made a pretty big trade with the Miami Marlins, trading Jesus Luzardo, starting pitcher, to the Miami Marlins for Starling Marte, the established veteran outfielder for them. And, I have mixed emotions about this trade. I'm very happy that we got a player like this, a stud at the plate. I mean, Marte this season, although he hasn't played as many games as usual, he's hitting 306, and I mean that is really really good. Besides Olsen, there's really no one on the A's that really comes close to that batting average. But this trade surprised me, to say the least. It surprised a lot of people. I knew Jesus Luzardo had been struggling a lot. Obviously he was kind of rushed into Major League Baseball. There was a lot of hype around him in 2019. People were saying he's a future Cy Young winner. He's going to turn the A's pitching around, and he's a young pitcher that could really, be the face of the A's pitching. But he really never lived up to the hype. He had a pretty good year in 2020, but this year it was just really, really tough for Jesus Luzardo. And he actually spent some time in the minor leagues because of this. He allowed 29 runs total. So just not a very good, season for him. It's just, it not really a good season for Luzardo in general. And I think the A's realized that. He just kind of struggled. And he also dealt with injuries. And I guess the only benefit that I see with Luzardo is the fact that he's 23 years old, right? So that's a lot of time to become a better pitcher, right? But with a 6.87 ERA this year, a 2-4 record, just not a player that the A's are willing to take a chance with, and I respect that. But you look at Marte; he's going to become a free agent after the season, and he is in his 30s, which isn't an issue. The A's have a lot of veterans on the team, Lowry, Andrus, but I think he's a guy that we kind of need in this lineup. It's kind of funny, the A's won by a big margin today, but they're as of late haven't scored more than about 4 runs in a game. So that's just some specifics of the trade. Marlins are reportedly saying that the rest of the $4.57 million contract remaining on Marte's $12.5 million salary, they're gonna pay for that. So he'll be a free agent after the season's over. We don't really know exactly too what position he's gonna play as well, because he does play center field, and Ramon Laureano is our center fielder. So we'll see what happens for that. But I didn't really see this coming, because when I've heard Marte's name, I've heard about the Giants, Astros, Yankees, teams like that, but I think he's one of those guys you can put anywhere in the outfield. I'm happy with this trade overall. I think, this might get a lot of backlash, but I think Luzardo was criminally overrated. Luzardo was very talked about highly, and I just never really saw him live up to the hype. Quite honestly, he had great bright spots. Last year we won a playoff series, and he was a big part of that, but it just never really was a great fit for Luzardo. And definitely the A's need to get pitchers, starting pitchers in particular. I mean, we have good ones such as Bassett, Caprilli, and Irvin, but we have to, this is a loss for our starting rotation, but we got to keep gaining. The Marlins also sent cash considerations to the A's, which is good. But I think, according to David Force, the A's general manager, he was just a good fit. And I agree. I think, he's just a really good defender. He can hit in the 300s clearly. I just think he's a good player to have. He has 71 hits on the season, 7 homers, which, isn't a crazy amount, but, for only playing, 63 of the over 100 games so far in this season, that's pretty darn good. Luzardo, with a 6.87 ERA, you really just can't take a chance. And I know people will say, he has time to develop. He's going to be on contract for many more years with the A's, had he stayed. But, quite honestly, I don't really think you can take a chance with an ERA like that, especially for a team like the A's that's trying to make a playoff push, Marte has 25 RBIs as well, 22 stolen bases. So that's something we need. Stolen base, a good base stealer is always a valuable thing to have in the lineup. He missed most of the season with a fractured rib, But, I think that's a reason why he hasn't played as much, but I think he has a lot of time to shine. And, he's a career 288 hitter, which is pretty good. And Luzardo is under team control through 2025, so that's why people were kind of with the counter offer, with the counter argument saying, okay, Luzardo's younger, he's 23, he's under contract longer. But, I think Marte, I hope he's not just a rental if he's good, because I think he is really good. And, we don't want this to happen to be like a John Lester situation or a Tommy La Stella situation where we have a really good player for like a couple months and then he leaves. But I think, if Marte does good, I think we have to really accommodate to what he wants. And I think the A's know that it's going to be, facing a lot of adversity, having the Astros in the division, the Mariners who are getting good, and a lot of other American League teams that want to win the pennant. I think the A's are trying to make a push, and I really hope with Marte and with, the good hitting today against the Padres, I hope the A's can really secure the division and prove that, having a rental can win you a World Series. And so we'll see. I know that's a big, assumption, but we'll see what happens. And anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. The A's trade Luzardo to the Marlins for Starling Marte in a pretty big trade. I mean, this made headlines across the entire Major League Baseball community. So anyways, guys, see you guys later, and go A's.